I hear the song from the places where I was born. Upon a hill across the blue lake, that's where I had my first heartbreak. I still remember how it all changed. My father said, don't you worry, child. See, heaven's got a plan for you. Don't you worry now. Yeah. There was a time, a little girl of a different kind. We ruled the world. I thought I'd never let her outside. We were so young. I think growing up. I still hear the song. Don't you worry, child. See, heaven's got a plan for you. Don't you worry now. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming out and making this the best show of our life. Thank you. See, heaven's got a plan for you.
Thank you.
I've been to see them all around the world, but nothing is compared to what I've seen tonight. But I know that there's such great individual artists that you'll find on the road. God bless them. Tshwane FM 93.6, keeping you on top in Cap City. What's up? Yo, what's up? You're listening to the best.
Look out, it's coming towards you.
The best.
Tshwane FM 93 points.
Tshwane FM is taking over Pretoria. Tshwane FM 93.6. The future is now.
Ooh, I want you so badly. It's my biggest wish.
Cool. I spend my time just thinking about you. Every single day, 'cause I'm really missing you. And all those things we used to do. Hey girl, what's up? We used to be just me and you.
I spend my time just thinking about you. Every single day, 'cause I'm really missing you. And all those things we used to do. Hey girl, what's up, girl? What's up, what's up,
Meet me
what's up?
halfway, right at the borderline is where I'm going away. For you, I'll be looking out. Night and day, my heart to the limit, and this is where I stay. I keep going further than this. I want you so bad, my only wish.
Girl, I travel around the world and even sail the 7 seas. Across the universe and go to other galaxies. Just tell me where to go, just tell me where you wanna be. I never give myself to take me where you be. 'Cause girl, I want you right now. I travel the town, I travel that town. Wanna have you around like every single day. I love you always, I'll meet you halfway.
Right at the borderline is where I'm going away. For you, I'll be looking out. Night and day, take my heart to the limit, and this is where I stay. I keep going further than this. I want you so bad, my only wish. I keep going further than this. I want you so bad, my only wish.
Let's go bridge to the other side. Just you and I. Catch you right. I will fly the skies for you and I. I will drive until I die for you and I. For you and I. For you and I. For you and I. For you and I.
Meet me halfway. Meet me halfway. Meet me halfway. Can you meet me halfway? Meet me halfway. Right at the borderline is where I'm going away. For you, I'll be looking out. Night and day, take my heart to the limit, and this is where I stay. I keep going further than this. I want you so bad, my only wish. I keep going further than this. I want you so bad, my only wish.
Your music, your station.
This is your boy DJ Bugs.
93.6. Tshwane FM 93.6. Your station, your music.
Twenty-nine minutes after 6 o'clock. It's a great evening. Thank you so much for joining us. On FM 93.6 remains the station that rocks you most. My name is Mokete Radebe. I am your news pioneer. We're doing this every Monday to Thursday right here on the Capital Talk. And thank you so much once more for joining us for the Tuesday edition of the socio-economic, that is the socio-economical aspect of the Capital Talk, where we look at everything in terms of opportunities for empowerment, where we also look at case laws or law cases in our legal mind segment coming through at the flip side of this just after the top of the hour. For the first segment of the show, or the first part of the show, we look at issues around property while also tackling news that are making headlines. We look at those property matters with none other than Mr. Tshwane Mampuru, who's our real estate
property consultant or real estate entrepreneur.
Okay, no, he's a property consultant. I'm a radio consultant. How are you?
Right. I'm great, thanks, and I hope you well and the listeners out there.
No, we're proper. What do we have today in terms of property?
So today I actually want to touch on important things that I personally feel that people should take note of when buying sectional titles.
Sure.
So the first thing that I want to explain is what is a sectional title. So a sectional title, a basic example that I can put, it's a flat.
Yeah.
Obviously, a flat is in a yard that has a lot of apartments in it.
I hear you.
Yeah, so it's a sectional title. So if you own a flat, you own a section of that title.
All right.
In simple words, or ngeZulu, if ijartilela umuntu one or abantu abahlala lapha ba own ama section.
So if Tshwane and you only own that room or basically.
Yeah.
You can't say room.
It's the same as a sectional title.
Yeah, so sectional title is on a machita go kasi bari back room so.
Back room, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
31 after 6. If you just jumped in, we're coming through to you live from YouTube. It is Mokete Radebe on YouTube. Search for Tshwane space FM space 93.6 on Facebook. And if you also follow Mokete Radebe, then we are coming through to you live. It's an interesting evening tonight. Before we head into the news that are making headlines, that is coming through at 18:45, we just want to touch a bit on this segment here on property today. Yeah, so let's just jump into those things. Because I think it's very important for us to clarify what exactly do we mean by sectional titles, because what also I know that we do have sectional titles in townhouses where you buy a house, but it's a sectional title, not a full title, where you can't change certain things about it.
Yes. So normally, just to give you a simple breakdown, if you get a flat, in most cases, what will be governing the people is a body corporate. Yes. But then now, if it's like a house in an estate, like you said, it's governed by a homeowners association.
All right.
Yes. So both segments, they form what they call a body of trustees, whereby all the owners come together, they form a board of trustees, and then what they do, they discuss, okay, how are we going to manage this place? How are we going to keep it clean? How are we going to maintain it?
Sure.
Now, with that said, that's where levies come in.
All right.
So here's a huge difference between a normal house and a sectional title. For now, let me just refer to sectional titles as flats, just to make the listeners understand. So now, Kadi flats, you don't own the entire place. You only own the section, right? And then the other section, which is the common area. The common area is basically the elevator, the stairs, the driveway. That's for everyone.
Sure.
And there's what we call exclusive use of area.
Yeah.
So now it can happen that you have a flat is on the ground floor, and there's a yard just next to your flat. So that can be an exclusive use of area, meaning that you as the owner of that section is the only one who has the right to do whatever in that specific exclusive use of area.
It
doesn't mean that other tenants can now chill in there or be busy in that specific exclusive use of area. Also, another example of an exclusive use of area is, let's say your flat is here and your garage is downstairs, for instance. So because now you own two sections inside the sectional title scheme, the garage will be considered as an exclusive use of area. That means not any other tenant or residents in the sectional title can use your parking or use your garage without your consent, because it's your exclusive use of area.
So you're saying that if I am to find someone parking there, I qualify to just take that car and do whatever I want with it?
Look at it as having your own house, whereby your neighbor can't just come and park inside your house without your consent. Same effect. So if it's an exclusive use of area, look at it that way.
Interesting. 34 minutes after 6 o'clock. Tshwane FM 93.6 is the station that continues to rock you most. And we are coming through you live on Facebook. It is Tshwane Space FM Space 93.6. And on YouTube, it is also Mokete Radebe there. And I am indeed EO News Pioneer. I'm with Mr. Tshwane Mampuru today, and we're discussing pertinent matters with regards to purchasing of sectional titles. Sectional titles are actually the booming property business at this point in time.
Yes, it's actually something I mentioned last week. You remember?
Yeah.
It's really booming because firstly, it's sort of cheap, number one.
Sure.
Number two, when it comes to security, if you own your own house, you have to worry about security.
Yeah.
Whereas in a sectional title scheme, you know that there's a 24-hour security guard, there's camera systems, there's someone cleaning outside. You don't have to worry about that.
Sure.
But obviously that comes at a price, which is called levies.
Yeah,
yes.
I hear you.
So one of the few important things that I want people to take note of when buying a sectional title scheme is that take note of the first three things: the price, the size, and the levies.
Sure.
Those are very important. So now with these three things, that's how you can compare if you're buying that property, if it's whether a high price, if you're buying it overpriced or underpriced.
Yeah.
What I normally do is that I look at the size. So the first thing that distinguishes a sectional title is the size. It plays a huge role because now the size tells you how much it should be going for. So what you can do before you buy the property, let's say you're on property 24, you want to buy a property. A normal a full two-bedroom unit, it's about 81 squares or 81 square meters. So what that means is that on property 24, I'm 81 square meters.
Oh.
So you look for, like, we'll say you look at 10 properties and then check on my side of the same sizes, and then you look at the prices.
Sure.
So first look at the size and then compare it to the price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the area matter as well?
Yes, it plays a huge role as well. The area does play a huge role.
Sure.
Yes. And then the price, that's where you can see if it's either overpriced or underpriced. Because now it's like you can't compare apples with bananas. You have to compare apples with apples. Hence, if you're looking for a sectional title scheme, size, from the size, then look at the different prices that are available. Then the third contribution is the levies.
Sure.
Yeah.
36 after 6 o'clock. If you're a young person, Tshwane University of Technology or any institution for that matter, or you're listening to us all the way in Pretoria, if you want to get into this property investment space, I think you need to closely keep your pen and paper so that you can actually benefit from all this information that Mr. Mampuru has for us. 37 minutes have gone since the hour 6 o'clock on 0123824936. That's where we are taking your course. Mr. Mampuru, let's proceed.
Yes. So here's another thing that a lot of people tend to make a huge mistake on. So here's a practical example. So if today you were to purchase a property worth 500,000 rand,
sure,
with a property, let's say in Arcadia, you could get possibly a 2-bedroom for 500,000 rand.
All right.
And then the bond repayment will be 3,876. Let's run it off to 3.9.
Okay.
So in your mind, you think that you're buying this property thinking it was 3.9 per month. But then now, if you don't take note of AMA levies, that's where it's a problem. Because now if you just buy the property without considering the levies, imagine now you buy a property, when the property registers house, the levies are like 2.5.
Sure.
Now you're no more budgeting that 3.9, so budget is 5.5.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so it's very tricky. Millions are sure that the levies are within your budget. Yeah. So levies and rates, let me put it that way, levies and rates. But what's more important is levies. Because I'm a ratey, okay, yes, when it comes to levies and rates as well, what distinguishes or what how the price comes up, it's based on sorry about that.
Interesting. 38 minutes after 6 o'clock. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we proceed with this lovely discussion that we're having today. In case you haven't started noticing, we are available on Facebook and on YouTube there. So just jump in there and show us love. And give us a hug, man. We would like to hear from you this evening. Tshwane FM 93.6 is the station where you are. The Capital Talk is the vehicle taking you all the way to your destination at this point in time.
Open. Unlock room 912.
Listen, hi, how are you? Okay, thanks.
No, this is Unisa.
Oh wow, thank you.
So, my lord.
Let's continue. How's your
My
day?
lord. We just saw him. My lord. Pura nagina, man. Nagina pa.
By the way, what do you have against you?
Achaluza case.
Those people are hardworking attorneys.
Arhan.
Why? Haven't you done this before? You have.
No, the thing is,
The fact that you took a
I
shower
will not go there
after
anytime
having
soon. So I
unprotected
think by
sex
the
with
time
an
I get
HIV
there,
positive
I will
woman,
be better off
believing
just
that it would
plugging
minimize your risk.
Oh.
Really angered AIDS.
Or wait, you are unprepared.
What is your response to their criticism?
It's wise to get there early.
And sound check
Sound
it.
check. Know that to know
Even
that the sound
you
is
wash your hands also. What's funny about washing your hands after doing something? After washing yourself, what's the problem?
But Mr. Zuma, AIDS is a big problem in this country.
I know,
And
I'm
hygiene is a big problem in this country. Clean yourself.
I don't know whether the whole world is in a culture of more of everything is instant gratification. That's why people don't want to go to school. I mean, I'm going to spend 12 years. After finishing that, I must do 3 years. People don't know, why should I go to school when I can do a tender and get rich? But there's no quality in a person. The best quality is in the time and investment you make in knowledge. And people don't have that. The quality of success is in the principles where you root in the pillars strongly so. When I make the example of a bamboo again, they will say to me about this guy, 5 years, this tree. The seed is under the ground.
Yeah, I can actually use that to open it. And you're choosing someone to say that. Apparently, there's someone who's told them.
The process of success, you're not born into having achieving everything. And when you go through the principles of nature, it's all about patience.
Wow.
The mother of all radio stations.
So, remember the radio station event? I'm saying we are the mother actually of radio station because mothers. Grab your mic, please. You know this young lawyer.
Guys, this thing was already.
Why are we talking to the minister? It's already sharp, man.
I'm thinking, let me sanitize my hands because I don't know what I'm touching here. See, it's not me.
So you want to sanitize before you touch it.
You don't know where your hands are. Why this is different?
Exactly. One more can you tell everyone?
Guys, listen. This is not my problem.
I'm
Guys, this is my car.
how you call it?
I don't do those things, okay?
42 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock. Kyo refuel Mush is doing things.
Wow, guys.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
What do you feel lawyer Unisa?
Guys, Marwa later when Unisa saw stop it.
How? But my lord, go nagna about
those people are reputable lawyers and attorneys.
But now the names are funny. Yo.
But then the fact that Unisa is recognized throughout the world,
Exactly.
like you gotta give it to them.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about recognition.
Okay.
Even bad people are being recognized.
What are you trying to say about you?
I'm saying Mabuso is famous
What are you saying about Unisa?
worldwide. I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just saying let's not be excited by recognition.
Yeah. But I feel like...
Can you lecture then?
Well, I don't lecture per se, but I do assist.
Or today you are Hannah. You're not lecturing today.
Guys, I'm putting it on record. I do not lecture at Unisa. I only assist getting my king and whatnot.
Okay, please come into the camera so I can see the person who's denying them in front of people.
So
you can just pull it closer a bit. There we go.
So yeah.
All right. So you are not lecturing at Unisa anymore. 44 minutes after 6 o'clock. Are you good?
I'm good. Just year-end fatigue having me.
Yeah, you want to and
wow, guys. I
didn't say ununule.
No, I didn't drink.
According to black people, we know what it means.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not
again, guys. Hey, I don't drink alcohol.
I didn't say you drink alcohol.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you said you were drinking. You didn't tell us as well. So that's what you were supposed to tell us now.
No, I wasn't drinking, guys. It is December. I was just having a nice glass of shampoo.
I don't drink alcohol. I was now having a glass of shampoo. We control each other within seconds.
Guys, listen, I'm an honest lawyer. I'm not a liar. I'm an honest lawyer. I cannot lie.
Oh, no. Oh, so there's those that lie.
Yeah, well, not that.
Oh, you were about to say law, what?
No, lawyers know how to convince people and tweak the truth and into suit their circumstances.
Stop helping.
What's tweaking the truth?
Allow him to
no, it's not lying. There's a difference between lying, guys, and tweaking the truth, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can literally, like lawyers have the ability to argue things in their favor, even when it's not in their favor.
At what point do you guys lie?
We don't lie. Lawyers never lie.
Okay. At least that's what you believe.
Yeah, I don't lie.
Yeah, I'm saying at least you appear to be believing what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a positive. Maybe one day it's something that will be achieved. Tony, let's come back to you. 45 after 6 o'clock.
Yes. So here's another important thing that you need to ask your estate agent or whoever is assisting you buying that sectional title scheme.
Yeah.
There's something called special levies.
Sure.
So what are special levies? So now let's say you stay in that that complex, and then it so happens that the elevator just broke.
Sure.
And obviously, for the levies, now there's an additional fund that they save for in case there's emergencies that need to be fixed. But then sometimes it happens that whatever that needs to be repaired is so expensive that it needs additional funds. So what the body corporate will do, they will say that, okay, body of trustees, which is all the owners, just for the next 12 months, we ask of you to just have an additional 1,000 rand from the levies. Back to the example I was mentioning.
I mean, how 1,000 rand per person?
No,
1,000 rand income from the levies.
Per unit, per apartment.
Exactly. So usually 1,000 per person.
Yes. I don't necessarily say per person, just say per owner.
Yeah,
per owner.
Yeah, higher per owner get person.
No,
what if there's two owners?
What if it has two owners? Yeah.
You see, so I don't want to confuse the
people. Owner, man.
Yeah. So special levies. So now they would say that everyone needs to cough out 1,000 rand for the next 12 months so that they can buy an elevator. So back to that example, you buy a property at 500,000 rand, the bond repayment is 3.9. You don't know how much the levies are. So now let's say the levies are 2,000 rand. Now your budget of 3.9 has gone up to 5,000 rand. Jiggy, there's levies now for 6,000. Now it's 6,000. So I don't know. A lot of people get trapped into this.
Sure.
Yeah. Normally when they buy the first investment property, so it's very important. And then now touching on in buying that sectional title as an investment property, it's also wise. But then this is also wise for homeowners.
Okay.
Always ask either the owner or the estate agent for the last AGM minutes. So now the body corporates each and every year, they form what they call an AGM, an annual general meeting, whereby they sit down and say, okay, this year, this is how the money was spent. So that's actually how they determine also special levies, if they do need special levies. That's where they also get to tell everyone what's really happening with the complex, why this hasn't been fixed, why this needs to be replaced, what's the way forward, are they going to do additional parking, are they planning to demolish the pool for extra parking, all of those scenarios.
Will they do that though? Will they demolish the pool for parking?
Actually, that's what I'm experiencing when I'm staying. The body corporate
So
really?
is contemplating on demolishing the pool so that for a parking lot.
So you guys have parking issues there?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's not necessarily parking
no,
issues.
a lot of inmates in any case.
It was a situation of the majority owner of the flats there. He bought some of the parking lots from other owners. So now all of those parkings, he's renting them out. And then now some other flats don't come with the parking. So they have to rent it out from either another tenant, another owner, or from that same guy.
Oh.
You see, so that's where it gets tricky. So, and here's another important thing, man. And I think it's mostly black people. They don't attend the AGM.
Yeah.
And then Bamakala the following year, how this special levy. Why is the levy so high? But you went at the AGM.
Wow.
But yeah, so AGM. And then here's another important thing. If you're buying it for an investment purposes, you need to know, or from the body corporate, you need to know how many people can occupy the place.
Sure.
Let's say now you buy that 81 square meter bedroom I was talking about. Normally, if it's an 81 square meter, there'll be 2 main bedrooms and there'll be a big living area. Normally what they do with that living area, they'll cut it in half and then they partition it.
Okay.
Now you go to places like Sunnyside, whereby now you can find that inside one unit where there's supposed to be like 4 people, there's like 10 people.
So out of 10, we reduce us on 20.
Hey, 20. Well, that's a bit extravagant.
Yeah,
but like, yeah. 10. You know what? They told me about that. The Hopola, when was it? 2016. I was accompanying a friend to go look for a place to stay. Right now in this apartment, what I saw was just scary. So imagine it was the living area. What they did was I created the room. Guess what separates the rooms?
Curtains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally curtains.
Yeah.
Like kitty curtains. So they're like 4 curtains. So it's like one like this. They divided it into 4 curtains.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Do people really sleep like this? And it's one of those where, you know what, sometimes you come to Pretoria and you have nothing.
Yeah.
And you need a place to sleep just for those 2 weeks, 3 weeks until class are like house. You know, so people do go through the most part.
Yeah,
exactly. That's how hectic. That time then it's like 1 bathroom. Imagine in the morning when it's like a 6 or more. You know, there's some tenants
that one is even easier. If you are responding to the call of nature, number 7, go for that one.
No choice. Yeah. You have to go to the garage.
Or climate you. I mean, you don't have a choice.
There's a certain degree to these things. 51 after 6 o'clock, Tony. I know that you should be leaving. Let me allow you to finish yourself.
And then the last 2 points is that if it's for investment purposes, also don't also think that because it's got so much space, I can make so much money.
Sure.
Yes, you can make so much money, but do you know what the current market rental price is? So you need to also understand and do research on that. $9K. You need to find out that per room you can only rent it out for like 2.5. Yeah, it's very important. Then the last one is take note of the body corporate rules. Each and every sectional title scheme has got its rules.
So if I don't agree with them,
then why are you living there?
You're not obligated to stay there.
Yeah.
No, but I want to stay here, but I don't like the rules. They are racist.
Well, you wait you wait for the AGM.
Yeah, I was about to say this is where attending AGMs becomes an important thing, because then you can go voice your concerns during the meeting.
Yeah.
And then now it's about issue the AGM.
Drink stuck. I you must take your food.
And then here's another thing that's it's something that I've seen is that white people, especially in these sectional title schemes, what they normally do is that they come together as owners. So let's say I can make it to the AGM. Because I trust you, I'll give you my proxy.
Okay.
So whatever decision you make there, you've got 2 votes. It's your votes and my votes. But then us as black people, because we don't attend the AGM, that's how they get to implement certain things without you guys knowing.
I know. Next time, guy, AGM. Please. You our chairperson.
Please.
Which one is the powerful position, chairperson or treasurer?
Money talks.
Money talks.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even though we call it treasurer, but I don't have a power to make decisions.
Yeah, yes, they're gonna come in. I mean, we saw today by here for Lotto, so
why buy for Lotto, Mara?
Because of the corruption there.
Is it because
with
of the
regards to funding? You know how Lotto is supposed to help like
projects within the community. Apparently, the money was not going to the projects.
Where was it going?
To their friends, whoever.
But what's wrong with that?
What do you mean?
What's wrong with that?
Don't you give your
No,
friend money?
you can't tell the government that, hey, government, I need this money. So
Yeah.
No, apparently, I'm not completely sure. But if you do something to the community, the government can help you when it comes to tax.
Yes.
Oh, via CSI. Oh, the claiming CSI.
Yes.
That's how a lot of people dodge it.
Yes.
But if I just do this, I wanted to pay a lot of tax.
Oh, that's the one Mzala is doing.
Yeah, CSI helps with tax. We all know that companies do it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
All right. So as an individual, can I do that as well? Take the money and give it to my
donations.
I've got family members that are poor. Then I give them the money. Then they don't tax me.
So now you want to be paid for helping your family?
Yeah, they are poor.
Your family?
Yes. And yet I can't afford. It's the same. That's what I'm saying with Lotto. If they are giving struggling people who are friends of theirs, is it still a case? Because Angela will look at the profile of the people.
Why are they selective then? What about the rest?
No. Whether we like it or not, in everything we do, it's selection. That's why Tshwane FM is in Pretoria and not in Emalahleni or Bronco or in KwaZulu. Selection is there. It's given.
Okay, so how would you feel if now your family is friends with the family of whoever's part of the Lotto, and then that family gets something, but then your family doesn't get something? How would you feel now?
That's where I come in.
That's where you come in.
Exactly.
Are you gonna lay a case against Lotto, or are you gonna be like, I know it's fine, you guys can support your families?
I don't lay a case. I'm also saying, as Lotto is doing, can I also do?
You want to help in your personal capacity to avoid tax.
To avoid tax.
What are you going to call it? A donation? I don't know. I don't know what happens with individual donations actually.
I'll call it black tax.
Well, no, black tax, no. Wow.
Okay. 55 minutes after 6 o'clock. Tony, please leave.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a lovely evening.
We don't want anyone with big hair here.
Please, guys, everyone who's purchasing a sectional tax scheme, like I said, what's more important, check the size and then compare it with the other prices.
Yeah.
I mean, check size and then compare the prices and then look at the levies as well. Very important, and ask if there's any special levies. If it's for investment purposes, check how many people can stay in that specific property, number of occupants. Also, look at the last AGM minutes. Yeah, so each and every year they do have like a financial statement just to show what's been happening. So that's where you can predict the health status of the building. Because now I remember I encountered a problem last year whereby there's a flat I was trying to sell for this foreigner guy. But now the challenge is that specific complex was owing so much money to the municipality. And now I found a buyer who wanted to use the bank or to get a bond. But then now the bank, because they saw that there's something wrong, he couldn't get the bond. So now it can be a problem if you try to resell it because of the financial status of the building. Yeah. As much as you might not be considering to sell, but just have a look. Because anything can happen in the future.
No, interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Where are you playing tonight?
I'll be playing at the old fire station.
The old fire station?
Yes.
You haven't said anything.
Do you know where the Pretoria old fire station is?
Well, here, the one in Bosman.
Yes, the one close to Bosman, yes.
Okay.
All right, so that's where I'll be playing tonight.
Okay.
I play the bass guitar, and so tonight it's actually more like an intimate love concert. Yeah.
No one that's already invite.
So Tony, the invite is ban na mo kan le rotsa ra chapter.
No one that's already invited because we say I know.
The invite is 20 men. The invite is ban na.
No, not men. It said 20 people.
Okay. Okay, so
you're the only man there.
I didn't say that.
Okay, who are the other people?
Well, I don't know the people that are coming because it's a concert. So I remember today, I think there were like 4 tickets left. And according to the organizers, most of the people coming are couples.
Oh,
so there were 4 tickets left.
Yeah.
What's that for the tickets? Yeah, because I get that totally his wife. I would have brought a friend, my sister.
No, it's fine. You don't even have to bring my wife. We'll go together.
Yeah.
Guys, listen. Since everyone is listening at home, right?
Yeah.
I'm the one who's going now. So I can't invite you guys. Who are the listeners going to listen to?
Okay. No, it's listen, it's fine. Leave. We're fine with you. You know what? We've realized.
He's a traitor.
Yeah, not only. In actual fact, we must find a law.
Yeah.
That will just deal with
no, Tony, you know what? You're a traitor.
What I'll do, I'll play a song next week. I'll come with my guitar. Is that fine?
I'm not even sure if it is.
Like with the rest of the band.
Next week is 16.
Yeah.
The film might not be sober.
Exactly.
Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Sharp Tony, it's 58 minutes after 6 o'clock. We're going to jump to Cry, who's going to talk to us about the all-white party that is happening. We're going to do that on the flip side of this lovely tune.
Around 93.6.
The best.
Tshwane FM 93.6.
Asizende mali so 17 man. Asizende mali so 17. Nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse
Zihlele ma, bigsolnenga. Womsangama, somatekiswa nemali, kodwa nje mfana wayika, noma ngathuka ngamna, bethelo shunweka, vele uxolisa ungaxwaki, ene wostela ngescope 6, sikuphi umpepisi, kaningane bayimisi, khipha isandla paskisi, sadlula uphume esithi, uyasichaza wehli, bekumswengo ngibakshini, shiya intombi isikikisi, fika sengihamba namabhenki, thatha into nomfana namgeyi, khaba ngeselfu ngayiniki, kuze wabo basa yamphiki, yamnikeza ifoni yashaya ipitch, bekunehaba manhayiqini, bekuphela nodela uyabhizi, yangene emotweni intombi yamshiya.
nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse.
I need money trees and summer breeze. Lot of cheese, Louis V's and double G's. Overseas with two B's and Auntie B's. Black cars and credit I think the Lord on my brothers is all I need. Let's throw a party, my brothers, it's all on me. Follow me, it's all on me. Cause Ferraris and Lambos is all I see. Combination just landed from Italy. Continentals and fingers and VIP. It's all on me, it's all on me.
Nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse nisubane man. Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse
Isubane ma, indaweni la.
Watsema madumbe ababuanga no na chapter madumbe.
What's this?
I don't even know. Hey, Cry. Hey, Tada, please stay on the line. Hey, Tada.
Eni oletha mikumbe andala midume safuna ukudlinya. Eni enkodla madumbe meni obangibuse
Asithenge mali sosebenzele imali. Asithenge mali sosebenzele futhi.
What you listening to? Huh? What you listening to? Huh? What are you listening to?
Tshwane FM, yo tonto.
Tshwane FM 93.6.
3 minutes after 7 o'clock, Tshwane FM 93.6 is exactly where we are at this point in time. And that one was Big Zulu. It's a song titled Imalening. Is featuring Intaba Yase Dubai and Ricky Rick. And this one, man, was definitely released, and licensed by Believe Music on behalf of Inkabi Records. Making great things, man. This is the song, man. It's been trending at this point in time, and we're actually loving it. And we refuel higher on time, and very important. Trending on Twitter, I see that the National Lotteries Commission, says business is as usual amid the SIU rate that is happening. Then, of course, several people have been treated for injury after a fire broke out at a chemical factory in Paratown, that is the west of Durban. And government has resumed work on the Guyana water project in Limpopo. This is after an investigation into the 3 billion tender stalled the project. More news are coming through in the flip side of that. And but at this point in time, we're joined by a lovely gentleman. He used to visit us more studio before COVID-19. His name is Kra. He is the CEO of One Records, and he's going to be talking to us about an amazing event that is coming through on the 16th of December. Kra, good evening, and thank you so much for speaking to us, my brother.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm well, my great friend, my great brother. I'm great, man. I was just telling the listener now, and you'll agree with me that in Jewon will the most to run also the mad light and la light alone. Le body yellow bone, man.
I don't remember how
Yeah, about all white. Tell me about the all white soul session that is coming through during this event. This week, rather on the 16th. Dinsang, who is the brain behind it? What can the listener at home expect there?
Like you said, on the 16th of December, I think everything is being hard for musicians and hard for people at large. So we decided to do an event. The brain behind it is two of my friends, DJ All White, I'm sure you know the guy, and the owner of VIP Lounge Operating. So basically what we're trying to in line with the COVID-19 regulations. We're still going to be responsible with the event. So on the day we'll be hosting Ismail Ibrahim, Paul Pirara, Manon Junior Perez, DJ All White himself, Positive K, and many more symphonies. So yeah, that will be happening on the 16th of December, which it will be on Wednesday. Yeah.
So I see that there's just a lineup here. Fante basadi bakaimo, because if I don't see women here, cry. Sorry to have ramp on that. I just picked it up. Unless it's bangways again next kisaboni, but I'm just seeing male faces here. Na bukanlo ya mo boys choir man.
I think it's a proper session. Women are there, especially with upcoming artists,
Okay.
So they are there in the lineup. So yeah, we did a case for women.
All right. So if I'm a female DJ or if I'm a DJ listening now and I'd like to be part of the event, is there still an opportunity for me? Or equates to me, it's hit tight?
No, there's no way with other tight because I believe in exposing upcoming talent.
I hear you.
That I'm CEO from One Record. So I don't see. I can't even say individually. There's no way. I believe that second 3 minutes of ability to execute their talent. I don't see any harm for it.
Awesomeness. And if they want to jump in there, they can actually contact you via which contact details?
Everything will be on the social platforms, Facebook, email address, @gmail.com.
Awesome. Just paint the mood, the scenery of the event. I already all white and listening. I'm just looking at the lineup. it's Metro FM on Sundays, right? But just paint for us. What is the plan? Scenery Global.
So basically, VIP lodge, in the corner Darren Avenue. So
Okay.
the place is being renovated. So the plan is we're going to do such tent, we're going to do the garden umbrella. So we're going to do a nice new peaceful event. So that's the picture so far.
Sure. Interesting. Any important information that the listener at home might actually want to take note of? Because Yabona Mubare, no under 21 years old, no mask, no entry. Why a little about 21 years, and while discriminate Tabanana?
It's not about discriminating. I think sometimes when you different, you need to know the market. It's all about what people down there decided to about this event.
I hear you.
I realize this time another day check older people. They're no longer going to take events because everybody knows as a Panalona so we're trying to accommodate events where more mature people whereby they can enjoy themselves and have peaceful day on that day.
I hear you. But I think also the music, like but wale ba ipatla John Vuligate, kanti lona le tshwere selaelo se lota kwa lebo
Maybe going to say that if you can take the lineup, I mean, that's not a regular battle, so so basically it's going to be a color theme there on the day.
I see the ball pastor Linda Demurira. Should people expect a bit of comedy as well?
Yeah, we're trying to make it very fun, so that people can relate. Remember, we've been in one of the previous years. Some of us we've never seen before. COVID-19, because we all depressed, people have lost jobs and so forth. Still remember now. So we're trying to bring people under one roof and have some mood.
I see these prizes here. It's okay. Tell me about that and tell me about what the different packages entail.
Okay, the different packages, 370 to 800 rand, and what the rate is 50 rand. So we're encouraging people to get them before at the gate, because obviously at the gate is going to be expensive.
All right.
So they can accept me on my social platform or email, then you can organize and put them aside for the day.
All right, I see there's VIP as well. VIP, you guys?
No, we really want to do a VIP of that. Because VIP is costly at the end of the day when you do events, and a lot of times it's easy. So it's only reserved for the artists and their entourage. So, yeah.
So if na ke lo re ke batla o tla da mara ke batlo o nna kwa ke batla o nna mona pela di artists pela for networking go ra re nka se kry bana VIP.
Yeah, we will discuss about that, and me and my team will come to conclusion. It's fine. That's the way it is. It's fine. Yeah, I'm afraid. But people say, friends, people in entertainment, obviously you can have them at the VIP section.
No crime and none. I'm just pulling your leg there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Any closing argument for the listener?
Yeah, I mean, since we are in a range of 16 days of activism against the women and children abuse, I say, 6 December, Corona, only people are depressed, but vaccination is fun. So there's too much abuse there. So as well as, let's take care of our women, and especially during this time of the day. That's all I can say.
Indeed. Cry, thank you so much, my brother. May you have a lovely evening. We are proud of the work that you guys are doing and wish you all the best with the event that is coming through on the 16th.
Thank you, sir. I wish you can say you're coming and it will be nice.
I need to be honest on air. On the day, I'm driving to Lesotho.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, I would have loved to come, definitely. If things change, I will definitely come through. I will definitely come through. Thank you so much, my brother. 12 minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock. But yes, I think that's the one thing about me. I don't, I speak to people unless I'm supporting them. I think, the verbal support needs to come to an end at some point. And there's no other way than, just, giving support to our brothers and sisters in this fashion. You know, I think it's a great thing. We need to do it. We need to. And when I can talk about so,
it's king. I just have an event. That's why I can't make it.
And I gonna climb and go in a VIP.
If bumper VIP, I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Ishmael Abrams, Paul Mtikhaga, or Junior Torres.
Junior Torres.
How about Ishmael Abrams?
Junior Torres.
Paul Mtikhaga.
Junior.
How about the maturity?
No, the soul music R&B. No.
No, get out of Ulanlian or what I'm doing.
Give it to the Junior Torres.
Junior Torres. So that's a while high. Okay, we battle a wall Ben 10. Yeah, kids, get a feel. 14 minutes after 7 o'clock before we jump into the legal aspect. What do we have there?
We are talking matric rewrite, Brackenfell High School, and then we are talking customary marriages.
Customary marriages, exactly. I think that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Brackenfell as well. It's a very sore pill to swallow for some of us.
Yeah.
We actually had a discussion about it, but the matric rewrite as well. I want to hear your views on that as well.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting turnaround of events for us as a country.
Wow. Wow, guys.
Tshwane FM, the mother of all radio stations. You know what you're going through. We dedicate this song to you.
I'm really like going
This is my former colleague. We used to work together. I used to train with them. We don't know the politics.
Not really.
Yeah, when I was still I stopped at Kanyara.
Yeah, no.
This is the
ears of the nation, the eyes and ears of the nation. Today, I'm living off your vision, and I'm proud to say I'm an African. Mama made up my hair, tell me classy, Malalo, Dorothy. Even those I didn't mention, the song this way. Today I'm saying thank you. Today I'm saying hello. Today I'm saying Valentine. Today I'm saying Yellow, yellow.
This song goes to all the unsung heroines of our country. This time, I acknowledge you all. You all sacrificed your time and lives so that you can have a peaceful life. Others left our country to live in exile. Today, I give you praise.
I want to rock with you.
Minutes after 7 o'clock. That is a lovely song. This one is titled Imbogoto, and this one is actually by a guy better known as Ndugman. We've had him a couple of times. Very talented, I must say. Very talented. Nice music, man.
Yeah.
These are
Wow.
the ones you watch. Ne? He'll be performing there, this guy.
Wow. Hey, it's king.
Yeah, but let's jump into news that are making headlines. Before go Misamo. The African National Congress President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on members to desist from making statements that could further fuel divisions in the organization. Ramaphosa is delivering the closing address at the ANC's last National Executive Committee meeting of the year. Some members had made comments which placed them at odds with the party structures. He further said that, or rather on Monday, his political overview was made public, where he considered that the ANC was struggling with deep divisions, especially amongst its leaders. Ramaphosa said that some in the party had wittingly or unwittingly damaged the party's attempts to unite. The Constitutional Court judges testifying before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal against Western Cape Judge President John Hlophe have taken issue with how the statement of complaint from the court recorded their testimony. The tribunal, which entered its second day today, follows a 2008 complaint by judges of the Apex Court who accused Hlophe of improperly trying to influence two of their colleagues in a pending case regarding former President Jacob Zuma and arms manufacturer Thind in the arms deal case. The Concord Justice Chris Jafta explained that some of the contents in the statement submitted to the Judicial Service Commission misquoted his initial evidence submitted through his lawyers. Jafta was the first judge with whom Hlophe held a meeting to discuss what he described as wide-ranging issues, where he inferred on him that the Supreme Court of Appeal had misinterpreted the law in their adverse judgment against Zuma. In other news, multiple people are being treated following at least 2 explosions at a factory in the New Germany area of Pinetown. The cause of the explosions which occurred today in the morning is not yet known. Advanced Life Support paramedic spokesperson Gareth Jameson said that the fire was still active on the scene, but various emergency response teams were in attendance trying to contain the fire. Furthermore, President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced that African National Congress Secretary General Ace Magashule will now present himself to the Integrity Committee. The party's NEC has been meeting this week with reports of deep divisions on the way forward. Magashule has been charged in the asbestos case along with 7 others, and there have been calls for him to step aside. However, some are against this, while Ramaphosa said that Magashule would make himself available. He has also called on members to desist from making statements that could further fuel divisions in the organizations. While Ramaphosa has also delivered the closing address at the ANC's last National Executive Committee meeting for the year. Former Eskom board chair Ben Ngubane has struggled to explain why Eskom decided to repay 1.6 billion to pre-purchase coal from Optimum, while the state-owned enterprise had decided to terminate its coal supply contract with the mine, and why the board authorized executives to negotiate with Tegeta as proposed Optimum owners when they didn't own the mine yet. Ngubane has told the State Capture Commission that the prepayment was intended to secure a coal supply and lock prices from Optimum, which was going under, so that whoever bought it would be committed to that supply and prices. But Ngubane earlier on said that Optimum was supplying rubbish coal to Eskom and exporting its best quality overseas, but it was arrogantly demanding that Eskom increase prices threefold. But he denies that businessmen and email linked to Salim Essa had issued instruction on what decisions the board should take. Interestingly, the economy's strong bounce back in the third quarter due to an easing in the coronavirus clampdown shows there is room for hope, and that's the message from Statistician General Risenga Maluleka. Maluleka released the third quarter figures for the gross domestic product in Pretoria this morning. The figure shows that gross domestic product grew between July and September by a seasonally adjusted annualized 66.1%, or by 13.5% on quarter two, when the hard lockdown put the brakes on economic activities. Quite interesting. This is exactly what we need to hear. 25 minutes after the hour, 7 o'clock. On our last news that are making headlines, the family of Nathaniel Julius on Tuesday said that the bail application by the man accused of covering up his murder was a move of desperation. Foster Nesiolongo was back in the Pretoria Magistrates Court for his bail application. He is one of 3 police officers implicated in the matter of the 16-year-old boy who had Down syndrome. Yeah, it's time for us to jump into the legal minds. What do we have there in legal minds, refs?
I think we must start off with the matric rewrite.
I think that's a thorny one.
Yeah.
Diabuamo.
No, Diabua, I mean, the minister made a decision, which is what we call an administrative decision in law. And she has technically and essentially decided that she's going to have all the matrics rewrite. Met paper 2 and science, physical science paper 2. And we've got SATU and AfriForum who are taking her to court.
COSAS is also against her.
Yeah. I mean, guys, it's a catch-22, to be honest.
I agree with you. That's what I was been saying as well, to say it's a very, very difficult matter.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because on the one hand, you want to also ensure the integrity of these results, right?
Exactly.
You want the students who get the 80 and 100% to confidently say, I got an 80 for maths paper 2 and whatnot. And they shouldn't
not be questioned.
And not be questioned about, well, you could have been one of those who saw the paper.
Correct.
Right? And also, on the other hand, though...
And by the way, just to step in there, it's not even the minister's decision. She's saying Umalusi.
Yes, Umalusi, yeah, because obviously Umalusi oversees the entire examination process, and they have to certify that the examinations were fair, and and they have to certify that, listen, the correct procedures were followed.
Sure.
So this is where I say it's a catch-22, because on the other hand, you have matriculants who've had a tough year because of COVID, who've had to adjust to, essentially, some of these students didn't even have access. And I always tell people, for me, it's not even about students who are in suburban areas or in Atteridgeville, who who have access to the internet and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm talking about students who meeting who down there who didn't have access. Eastern Cape, who didn't have access to internet during lockdown, who couldn't get onto whatever and watch some type of class.
Yeah.
So for me, and interesting enough, there are students who are calling into radio stations saying, I'm literally depressed. One student actually threatened to kill themselves on a particular radio show where the host had to intervene and tell the student it's going to be okay, don't worry about it. So it's a catch-22 because you want to
I wish the ones in the Eastern Cape or in the rural areas were the ones who give out to this people. What will ever pass them? In any case,
yeah. So AfriForum is saying, well, you can always see, you can clearly tell where a student has cheated. So they're saying that if a student has not cheated, mark their paper, publish the marks, give them their marks. If a student has cheated, penalize that student. So they're saying you can always see where a student, I mean, to a certain extent they are right, because you see the formula. I'm assuming that the memo must have also been leaked, this paper, I'm not sure, but you can see, you can see that it will be exact to the T that here's something. So AfriForum is saying,
what if these people are geniuses, eh? 60.
Yeah, and that could be a case where somebody who's gonna get a bare minimum 50, just to get a 50. So AfriForum is saying penalize those who cheated. Well,
how did they know that they cheated though? How did they know? Is it because of the leakage?
Yeah, because of
how did they know that it was leaked?
Because you know what happens? I guess it gets leaked through WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
So obviously it then gets to. Imagine a chain message going throughout. But how do you always end up? You just think of yourself. You get a message delaying somewhere with a random person. It ends up with you. So probably these students went to school and then one student went to the teacher to say, by the way, people have the paper. And Satu is saying, first of all, you didn't investigate properly. So Satu, on the other hand, is saying, listen, we just don't agree with your decision right now because you haven't conducted a proper and thorough investigation. Because 1 minute you're telling us it's 200 students who had access to the paper. After 5 minutes, it's 4,000 students. So how many students actually had access to this paper? You don't even know.
Sure. But I think, and I was saying this with Professor Bere Hanyane Mawam, to say to a more philosophical point, it's the catch-22 here is that the Minister of Basic Education and all the organs that are entrusted with procuring services, they are, expected, in fact, they are forced to always give opportunities to emerging companies.
Yeah.
These emerging companies that are not so experienced, but also where there isn't enough control, there isn't proper controls
in place. This is what led to this.
This is where you get such a thing. And so when things are like this, you begin to say, perhaps we should have got refuel who's been seasoned here,
who's been doing it for 20 years, irrespective of whether it's a white-owned company.
Yeah, irrespective of whether refuel is white or black, because I think, by and large, the greatest challenge that we're facing is the BEE
criteria.
And I'm telling you now, the gender, gender equity, we're getting there, where we're going to overlook qualified people and take people on the justification of their gender. And I'm not saying that there isn't a need for
that transformation,
for a radical transformation in that space, but I want us to really be intentional in terms of how exactly do we do it. To say, just because of you are of a specific skin color or you are of a specific gender, it doesn't automatically, necessitate for us to say we risk, because of this is where we are now. Look at the picture.
I think you know what the problem in South Africa is. We have equated transformation to color.
Sure.
So, and I've always maintained that we do need transformation in South Africa.
Yeah.
But transformation does not simply mean taking a random person who's unqualified and putting them in a position simply because they are black and female.
I think in terms of transformation, we need empowerment more.
Exactly.
More than placement.
Exactly.
People need to be empowered.
Not just the ratio. It's not, and I think that's the problem in South Africa. It's the ratio, the number. Right. It's about how many black people can we get into this position. Instead of saying there are actually, and you know what, there are actually black people who are qualified for positions. But because we all know what happens in South Africa, proximity also. Your friend is the head of department who's gonna call the friend who, yeah, I've got a job when I'm for 5,000 refugees in. And that is the problem in South Africa.
We have 500 activity. Yeah, or something.
Exactly.
3 after 7 o'clock. Let's look at the legal jargon on that one. Does AfriForum and SATU have a case here? Can they win the case? What is the stance of the ministry?
Like as I said initially, when a minister makes a decision, it's called administrative decisions. So administrative decisions, for the listeners at home, is simply when a minister or a state of organ or somebody who holds an office, a public office, makes a decision that deprives people of their rights.
Sure.
So essentially, she has done that.
Yeah.
So the administrative decisions have to be fair, reasonable, and they must be taken following the correct
similar
process.
to the lockdown, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, they are going to actually review her decision to say that her decision is not reasonable, as didn't follow the correct. And I start to their case is based on the fact that they didn't follow the correct procedure. Because first of all, you're supposed to conduct a thorough investigation. You haven't really conducted a thorough investigation, because 1 minute you actually don't know how the impact of this leak. You don't know. If somebody was to ask you today, is it 2,000, is it 4,000, one day it's 200 students, the next day it's 4,000 students. So they're going in that route. And I think AfriForum will probably base their argument or application on the fact that it's unfair and unreasonable, because they are saying you can clearly see the department has regulations which deal with cheating during exams.
Yeah.
So why do we not use those regulations and use them for this situation?
But you think COSAS will agree for students to be singled out?
That's the and you know what? And I was actually saying to somebody, and that's where the other catch-22 comes, because now we are also going to if we get students we single out,
COSAS will say you are adding to unemployment.
And then unfair discrimination is also, and let me tell you, even color will also come into play.
South Africa.
Yeah, welcome. I love it possibility.
But let's frame in this regard. What is the priority? What should we be prioritizing?
You know what? Ultimately, I agree with Malusi to a certain extent. I'm conflicted, and I'm being very honest.
Yeah.
I was saying to somebody, I'm very conflicted, because you also there are students who are going to get bursaries.
Sure.
And once bursaries get a hold of the notion that those results are questionable,
they can withhold that.
They can withhold that bursary. So this has such a huge impact on the students' lives, to be honest. There are students who are going to study Cuba, the medicine and so forth, who've got bursaries I know that South Africa's got that exchange program where you have Cuba to study medicine.
Yeah.
And then with questionable results, is Malusi even going to certify these results? If they don't rewrite this paper, is Malusi going to certify these results? Which you know what is unfair about this?
And the question for me is, if Umalusi says we certify them, is that legal?
Exactly that, and people can take it on. And you know what is so unfair about this? That on the other hand, we've got kids who are writing IEP at expensive private schools, who are going to pass, who are going to get their results very soon in January, who are going to go to university. Then we've got our government students who are in this vacuum, who don't know. And I think also these court applications are going to prolong the process.
Sure. But you see the other thing, and I remember this other professor, he was saying in India, anyone that gambles with education, they behead him. They're very strict on that. I think the culprit needs a serious.
Yeah, no, the culprit exactly,
because of imagine all the expenses that are going to come to this. But imagine as well. imagine if these kids, the majority of them, or maybe a certain number of them, can even commit suicide because of what they have done.
Also, I feel like people were saying, how can you want to commit suicide over a matric paper? People don't realize the trauma that these kids have gone through, having to write exams, not having the help that they would have normally, going to class every day, going to the Saturday schools. None of that happens this year.
I think it's people that are irreasonable, that maybe do not hold the same, you see, some people, their future is so close to them that it is the only thing that keeps them away, because they want to change the situation they
at home.
So for some people, it's also just that thing. Let's go to Brackenfell. Maybe let me just check that article. I think it's a very interesting one as well. And the heated arguments in the application by the school governing body of Cape Town's Brackenfell High seeking an interdict to prevent the EFF from protesting in and around the school can be prescribed as two heavyweight boxers in the polling room. And let me just try to get the audio for that.
Showdown. The heated arguments in the application by the school parents to replace the matric ball cancelled because of COVID-19. Black learners were allegedly excluded, but the school says it was a private party arranged by parents and not the school. The EFF staged a protest on Monday the 9th of November at the school, which turned ugly when EFF supporters were attacked, allegedly by Brackenfell residents. Violence erupted during a second protest on Friday the 20th of November at the school when police used tear gas, stun grenades and water cannon to prevent EFF protesters handing a memorandum to the school principal. This was despite an earlier undertaking the EFF gave the court that they would not disrupt school.
But I think what's more important here and quite interesting at this point in time, I see now that the Western Cape High Court Judge Siraj Desai has taken issue with the investigation by the Western Cape Western Cape Education Department, which found no racial discrimination with regards to a matric dance held by the Brackenfell High pupils, which sparked protest by the EFF. What I found very shocking for me was how they downplayed this thing. It was an issue of a parent
organizing a private event that she even posted it on Facebook.
And people must pay.
People had to
already
pay.
There is a
already there's a classification if you can't afford to. So already that is a problem because if my parents don't have 500 rand to pay for a matric dance, already I'm cut out. And this whole notion that there's the classification of discrimination came from the fact that only the learners who could go to the dance were then added to a separate WhatsApp group.
Hey, also, if this is a party now, make it a party. Don't make it about the chicken. Then when they are there, you can say also you can celebrate the fact that
And what I also found strange was there was a mistake. The service provider the school uses mistakenly placed the photos on the school's website. There is no way that you mix it, and that is why a parent saw it. That is how some of the parents saw that, oh, you guys actually had a matric dance, and then they quickly removed the photos because it was a mistake. There is no way, guys. No way. I doubt it was a mistake. How does a service provider that knows that this was not a school event officially organized by the school go onto the school's website and place those photos there?
Are we far from winning the fight racism in this country?
I mean, you know what? I strongly believe that we will never overcome that. White privilege is a thing in South Africa.
Sure.
I was actually somebody asked me, and I'm going off topic here because I raised this issue earlier today where somebody was saying the death penalty should be reinstated to deal with gender-based violence. And I said, I hear your point, but the core of the issue here is that we don't have proof that the death penalty would eradicate gender-based violence.
Sure.
The core, the root issue here, or the essence here, is the issues. Equality is a problem in South Africa. Social status is a problem in South Africa.
Social equality.
Social equality. And this is not me endorsing gender-based violence or crime by black people. But look at the trends. Mostly when it comes to gender-based violence, black people, black men who abuse who are poor,
being abused,
who are not educated. So I said it is, and look at how white men usually kill out of a fit of anger, like Oscar Pistorius, or they do white-collar intelligent crimes because they are educated and went to school. So I said, for me, the death penalty will not resolve the core issue, which is the social inequality that is at play.
Actually exaggerated, so to say.
Exactly. So we are far from ever getting this. What Rainbow Nation is all a fallacy. We are also that Rainbow Nation idea because they wanted to end apartheid. They wanted to shut the relevant people up, and it happened. And listen, over 20 years later, we're still having issues. And there is an undertone of
and
racism.
COVID-19 is actually actually a great reflection of how poor our system is and how we still battle to fight this inequality. But another legal case that we have there,
we are talking about the recognition of customary marriages bill.
Very interesting.
There is a bill that is currently before Parliament.
You sound excited. Are you?
I am excited because you know why I'm so. I know. You know why I'm excited about this topic, because I want people to actually take note of. It's so disappointing to see how we never comment on bills that are before Parliament.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if people know that there was actually a bill that's going to try and eradicate this problem of gender-based violence that was before Parliament, where they asked people for their comments, like the public. You can literally send an email to Parliament and tell them, I have a problem with this section because of, and you know what, I saw on social media, people were actually commenting saying this and this, there's a problem with the bill. So the reason why I'm this excited about this is that I actually want to encourage people to actually make it a point to comment on bills that will have a huge impact on them, especially customary. It's going to have an impact on us Black people.
Sure.
Né? And the reason why there's this bill before Parliament is that because of polygamous customary marriages.
Oh, yes.
What happens in the case of a polygamous customary marriage when the husband or the wife dies? Is it a joint estate or what? We must all remember that customary marriages are automatically in communal property, right? We all know that. And that's it. And I think that's something that's very important for everybody to
But why is it automatically in communal property? But also the definition of customary law, customary marriage.
Yes.
Yes. So what happens to us that have actually done that part and went on to sign and do now the
civil union.
Civil union.
Yeah. Well, you are married in communal property unless if you sign an international contract.
Yeah, so I'm saying if we signed the international contract.
Then you are.
But we did get married.
And that's actually an interesting question that a lot of people have actually raised. And you know what also has complicated the issue? The double HP case. Remember
yes.
What has complicated that issue? Because again, with customary marriage, you have to make sure that you sign that intellectual contract before that wedding is actually solemnized and it's done, it's finalized. But what now the WHP case has done is, the question now is, when does the marriage actually come to you? Because WHP, you don't need a celebration, you don't have to have essentially with WHP, they say that the minute there's an intention, they come to your house to say there's a marriage already. So now and that's why I said that decision is a little bit irrational for me, because now the question for me is going to be, so when do we then have to go sign an international contract? The minute my partner tells me then you have to go.
No, the minute I will share.
Exactly. So
when he sees me, he must
just say, I don't even sign an international contract.
It's a very difficult thing. I think we need to then bring in traditional leaders in this regard.
Exactly.
But as well, I think the phenomena of, or rather the basis of why anti-nuptial contracts were created, it's something that maybe should guide us in this regard to say what are the bases, what should be the objective. And also I think the case at WHP, it's also something that created a mess, because I was under the impression that when the celebration is, when the agreement has been there, so perhaps at the negotiations, at the agreement, that's when that should be happening. But also knowing how fussy we are about issues, I'm sure that would cause a serious mayhem. The negotiations, Rangwane situnya sa no refule ke lawyer ngwana rena re batle abe already and discipline divorce, that's the first thing
exactly
so it's going to be it's difficult.
It's very difficult. That WHP case, you know what, I think that case was an actual reflection of the fact that we need people who are experts in traditional law.
Sure.
And you know why? Because we have different customs and practices, and you'll even notice Pretoria, for example, will have different practices as opposed to Batswana Makoma who are very traditional and rooted, which is what WHP's family was saying in court, that you have to consider those things. You can't just have one blanket application to everybody's tradition and practices. Even households have different.
And for instance, if you are Zulu and I'm Sotho, and I'm getting married to you, the interpretation of your of what is happening in your culture is different from our interpretation. In some cultures, and here's the funny thing that we've never realized: in some cultures, how nyalons are mahashed and ones are food, that's a sign of respect. In other cultures, how ones are in food, that's a sign of disrespect.
Exactly.
So people don't, and this is why we need different I think traditional leaders. I honestly think that when it comes to such decisions, the chiefs must come in. But now what happens if the chief from your area says, where's the breaking point?
And that's where then you have a judge having to come into play.
I think perhaps, unless it maybe then they're going to just automatically dismiss customary marriage and say we'll just focus on civil.
But then that's also going to cause litigation. People will say that's unfair discrimination.
But I think at this point in time, there isn't a blanket way of dealing with it. You understand? Because I think, if to be fair on the system, the interpretation makes it very difficult.
Customary law is a very complex area.
Because of this is derived from the norm to say the people in this area bapela so. The people in that area bapela so. You get the point? So we've got all those challenges.
And you might remember the other big issue that's causing all of this. I mean, in the olden times, there wasn't issues about interpretation because your chiefs knew how to interpret it. The reason why it has become so difficult to interpret customary law now is the influence of the Constitution, which recognizes that we are all equal. So essentially, laws that frown upon women in customary law are now having to be interpreted in line with the Constitution, which is causing a lot of issues. So that's where the difficulty comes into play.
You know where we're going with all these up-to-nuptial contracts trying to be brought in customary law? We're actually going to a place where there's going to be a specific amount for mahari, or mahari will be removed.
So that's Western practices are being applied to African tradition.
No, they're not even being applied. They're diffusing.
They're being imposed.
To replace the existing. And this is where I think traditional leaders must then step in and perhaps say that the Constitution must then be interpreted based on those areas. But maybe what is more important then is because my understanding is when you marry as from the guy's side, you marry into a family. So maybe in that regard, they need to then outline what is the interpretation. I think that's maybe.
That's why they also say it's important when you get married to jot everything down on a piece of paper or in a book what you guys agreed to, and which actually
when I got married, there was actually that proof.
The book that letter. So apparently that will help as evidence to prove what the intention was and so forth. You
but I remember
that.
But I remember there were signatures.
I mean, I actually had a case where somebody asked me, I'm about to get when must I get my intellectual contract? And I said, you should have gotten it before those people come to your house. Go and sit down with a lawyer. And she then said they actually went to a lawyer and told them, I can't help you because already the guy's family has already gone to your house to tell them that. So this WHP case has caused a lot of issues. But I think the crux of this topic for me is people must remember that if you don't conclude that anti-nuptial contract, it will be a marital commitment of property, and obviously we know the consequences during the estate and whatnot. And now this new bill is intended to also do the same for polygamous marriages. So what will happen with the polygamous marriage is that the particular estate of that one house, again, let's say you have 5 different wives, and which means you have 5 family units, right? so each family unit, so that husband, if the husband dies, whatever assets he is and liabilities he has acquired with this one wife, they're going to share it in community. But also it does happen where they'll go to all of these 5 houses and not find enough assets, and then they'll say, okay, we are taking all of them all together as one family unit and all of these wives, and we are going to divide everything amongst all of them.
Sure. So that point, older wife, junior wives, high rate in this regard.
No, in-law, yeah, you can be the first wife. Good for you, you're the first wife. But in-law, there's nothing like, hey, I'm the first wife. No, we are all equal.
Yeah.
53
minutes after 7 o'clock. Is that all that we have in terms of?
Yeah, that's all we have. We've spoken about Brackenfell. We've spoken about customary marriages. We've spoken about matric rewrite. Yeah.
Interesting. 53 minutes after 7 o'clock. Tshwane FM 93.6. It's exactly where we are. So next week it is 16.
It is 16.
Yeah, we must discuss that. I don't see us being here.
Yeah.
But yeah, 53 minutes after 7 o'clock. Tshwane FM, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think that was important information. Quite often we neglect this information and because we don't know much about it.
Exactly.
Short break, more music coming through in the flip side of this.
The churches, they don't need your qualification. They have nothing to do with your education, Vujisha. Vujisha! Boy, since it was 1909, 1910, long before I was born, Saulo, 1916, Vujisha. 1928, Mandela va mutwala ebabuya. Saulo oleseala. Alibeleke 2015. Bacha bale yopela bayihamba. Raba Saulo. Raba.
The best.
Tshwane FM 93.6.
Call us now. 010-383-4936.
This one is Juvie Mega Hits and it's a Koto. This is where we live it tonight. Great music coming through all the way until the Pebble City nights come and fill up your ears. Good evening.
So you're going to listen to yeah, and I also went to my save.
Yeah, there was one. When you went, they wanted to store it. Oh yes, I remember that.
So I know you understand why I think you know what, I think just to be safe today, because especially the kind of
I'll take you sliding right now with the one of your eyes. And all the hubby son, and he gets on the young guy. You think that you don't want to tell you when they can say, but one of you gets a hundred of six guys. Get like a basani, you don't know my stuff, you don't. You got the neck and I like it to you. If you didn't want to be shot from around more, you want to find a friend of a study, but they go. Choose your rock and DM away. Shot, shot, so spend and you're ready to away. Shot, shot, whatever, but you put it. And we ain't leaving till 6 or 7.
You know what they do?
What are they saying?
How tastes the beer?
Yes.
So I assume you are never put that because of fashion.
Station with the best music.
I love you.
Best music. Your station, your music.
I know we are listening to today. We are literally
You know this?
No. Try us. Right now we're talking to try us.
I just wait for it when I'm. Let me show you my mouth. You know what she just
So she's sitting on.
She was born this side, but her mom is from this side. She grew up in this side.
She grew up in this one.
I was made in this side. Then I was
You were born in South Africa.
my baby was.
So yeah, often, or this is the first time you.
Well, from Butabuti. That's I've been going there. Yeah, I even have an estate. I have a sort of like inheritance.